This is an icon or a symbol for the feelings that characters may have in our story. Feelings happen all the time in stories. Characters have feelings about things that get the story started. How would the character feel if something scary got the story started? Carly, how would the character feel if something scary got the story started?
Not good.
Yeah,
Scared.
they would feel afraid or frightened. How would the character feel if something funny got the story started?
Probably pretty silly or funny.
They would be happy or silly. And how would the character feel if a problem got the story started?
Worried.
Yes, upset or mad. Good storytellers say how characters feel about things that happen in the story. Characters in stories always have feelings about the things that happen. How might a character feel if all of a sudden they saw a spaceship landing? They might feel scared or shocked. How might a character feel if all of a sudden they saw a pig dancing? They might laugh because why would a pig do that? Right, they could be surprised or amazed. How might a character feel if all of a sudden he saw a monster stomping through town? They might be afraid or surprised. Okay, good. So, let's see if we can find out how characters feel about seeing that bear in the story. There were two dogs named Bob and Max. Bob and Max were walking in Redwood Forest during the day. They were going to camp out. Then, all of a sudden, Bob and Max saw a bear named Grizzly. They were afraid. The characters Bob and Max were afraid because they thought the bear might hurt them. What is this icon called? Feelings icon. Great, it's a feelings icon. Tell me what kinds of feelings characters can have when a story takes off and it is scary. Funny? A problem? Great, they could be afraid, surprised, amazed, happy, sad. How many feelings can a character have? As many as they want to. Good, that's right. Give me an example of feelings characters can have. Mad, sad, happy. Okay. This is an icon or a symbol for the plan that characters may have in our story. The characters were having a boring day before the takeoff. Then something happened. The characters felt an emotion, and now they have to decide what to do about the takeoff. Good storytellers say what characters are planning or thinking before they do things in the story. They use words like wanted and decided. I said decided. You can listen for those words. All characters can have plans. The characters usually make plans before they take action. Can you think of a plan that characters might take if they lost their homework? They may plan to look for it. Yeah. Can you think of plans characters might take if they are locked out of the house? They might plan and decide to call their mom for a key. Yeah, they could do that if they had a phone. Can you think of some plans that characters might take if they saw a spaceship land? Decide to run away. Great. Let's see if we can find out what the characters were thinking about doing when they saw Grizzly the bear. There were two dogs named Bob and Max. Bob and Max were walking in Redwood Forest during the day. They were going to a camp out. Then all of a sudden, Bob and Max saw a bear named Grizzly. They were afraid, so they decided to run. That was their plan, to run away. What is this icon called? Plan. Tell me what kinds of plans characters can make. They can decide, hide, laugh, or they can call for help and look for food. Great, good job. Again, this was our plan. This is a symbol or an icon for the landings in our story. The landings are things that happen because of the actions the characters take. Each landing is connected to a takeoff. We have one landing for each time the story takes off. The characters can take action because of the takeoff. Can you think of landings to these actions? A boy looks for his homework. He finds it. A girl calls 911 for help. The ambulance comes. Can you think of landings to these actions? Mom drops an egg on the floor. The egg breaks. The girl goes to meet her friend at school bus stop. They make it to school on time. Now let's see if we can find out how the story landed. There were two dogs named Bob and Max. Bob and Max were walking in Redwood Forest during the day. They were going to a camp out. Then all of a sudden, Bob and Max saw a bear named Grizzly. They were afraid, so they decided to run. That was their plan. That is what they did. They ran away. They ran away. They took action and ran away. They ran away and hid in the leaves of a tree. Grizzly sniffled around, but he didn't see them. But the bear fell asleep at the bottom of the tree, so they couldn't get down. That is a complication, because Grizzly fell asleep at the bottom of the tree, they couldn't get down. The dogs wanted to get away, but they were stuck in a tree. They waited a while until it was safe, and then they snuck down from the tree to get away. Remember, the takeoff of the story happened when the dogs saw the bear. They were afraid, so they ran to get away from the bear, and they hid in the leaves of the tree. The bear fell asleep at the bottom of the tree, so they had to sneak down to get away from the bear. They got away from the bear in the end. What is this icon called? Landing. What does it mean when the story lands? The character finds what they're looking for or get what they want. Great job. Characters have feelings about things that happen in the story. Stories are better if we use words like afraid, disappointed, shocked, surprised, and relieved, not just happy or sad. This could be afraid, scared, disappointed, upset, shocked, surprised, jumpy, did not think that would happen, surprised, did not think that would happen, caught off guard, relieved, thankful. Let's try. How did Fluffy feel when he saw that Snoopy was gone? Afraid. How did Jack feel when he saw that Snoopy was gone? Surprised. How did they feel when they were going home after they had not found Snoopy? Disappointed. Here in the picture, you can tell that Fluffy feels very sad because his head is hanging low, and so is Jack. How did Jen feel when she saw Snoopy sitting on the couch at home? Shocked. And how did Jack feel when he saw Snoopy on the couch at home? Surprised. How did everyone feel when they were all together again? Relieved. Okay, here's a photo. A girl found her dog ran away. How do you think she feels? Devastated. Why do you think she is devastated? Because her dog ran away. Yes, the girl was devastated because her dog ran away. A boy fell asleep in school and fell off his chair. How do you think he would feel? Embarrassed or humiliated. Why do you think he feels humiliated? Because everyone is looking at him. He is humiliated because everyone is looking at him. A boy went fishing and caught a fish. How do you think he feels? Excited. Why do you think he feels excited? Because he caught a fish. Yes, he feels excited because he caught a fish. The lady found a spider in her hair. How do you think she feels? Terrified. Why do you think she feels terrified? Because she found a spider in her hair. The lady is terrified because she found a spider in her hair. A little boy lost his favorite toy car. How do you think he feels? Upset. Why do you think he feels upset? Because he lost his favorite toy car. Yes, the boy is upset because he lost his favorite toy car. This man is going on an airplane ride. How do you think he feels? Excited. Why do you think he feels excited? Because he is going on an airplane ride. The man is excited because he is going on an airplane ride. All right, I'm going to tell you a story and you're going to tell it back to me and then we'll change up how it goes. You just pay attention. Once upon a time, there was a woman named Carly. She was on her way to work at Jefferson Elementary Center on a Monday afternoon. On her way there, Carly realized, oh no, I forgot my lunch, and that made her very upset because she wanted to eat. So she had an idea. She would call her husband Tanner to bring her lunch to her. She did end up calling him, and he said, okay. Tanner showed up to the school with her lunch, and Carly was able to eat. The end. Your turn.
There was this girl named Carly. She was going to work at Jefferson Elementary Center on Monday. But then whenever she got there, she realized, oh no, I don't have my lunch. And that made her,
Think about her feelings.
that made her upset. And so then she thought, oh, I have an idea. I should probably call my husband Tanner and to come bring my lunch. And so then she did do that. And then he showed up, I think he showed up to the job where she worked, in his truck.
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
in his truck. And then Carly was able to eat her lunch and she was so happy.
Very good job. Now I will score that story using the Skills Story narrative rubric. Now we will make up our own stories. We're going to be authors and illustrators. An author is the person who writes the story. What is an author? The person who writes the story. The illustrator is the person who draws the pictures for the story. What is an illustrator? The pictures that we draw are called illustrations. What is an illustration? We will illustrate our story as we make it up together. Let's start with the first square on your grid. It is the one with the character icon on it. The first square on your storyboard has a character or icon symbol in it. What can we have for characters? Toys, people, animals, etc. How many characters can our story have? As many as we like. Let's think of some characters for our story. Carly, can you think of a character?
A dog.
Okay, and what's the dog's name?
Ralphie.
Dog named Ralphie, that's great. Okay. The next square on your storyboard has a setting icon or symbol in it. What settings can there be in a story? Place, location, time of day. Let's think of some settings for our stories. Carly, what's our setting?
The park.
Can you give me a name for the park?
Jackson Park.
Great. Okay, and in the setting there's also a time. When is this story?
Saturday morning.
Great. Okay, the next square on your grid has a takeoff or icon symbol in it. What is a takeoff? Something that gets the story going. What can a takeoff be? Something funny, scary, or a problem? Let's think of something that will get our story going. What if a dog chased a squirrel? Yeah, that's a great way. Okay. The next square on your grid has feelings or icons. It has the feelings icon or symbol on it. Now let's go back to the takeoff. What got the story started? The dog chasing a squirrel. How do you think our character felt about what was happening? Excited, because he wanted to chase the squirrel. The next square on your grid has a plan icon or symbol on it. What is a plan? Something that the character thinks about doing because of the takeoff. Let's think of a plan that our characters might want to make because of the takeoff. They might want to think of a way to trap the squirrel so that he can finally get it. Yes, and the next square on your grid has an action or icon symbol on it. Our characters made a plan. What was their plan? Okay. The next square on your grid has the complication icon or symbol on it. What is a complication? Something that gets in the way. Let's think of a complication that can get in the way of the landing. It messes up the plan with the characters made. Let's draw a quick illustration or picture of it. The next square on your grid has the landing icon or symbol on it. What is the landing? The landing is something that happens because of the actions that the characters take because of the takeoff. The landing is related to the takeoff. What got the story started? How will it end? The next square on your grid has a wrap-up icon or symbol on it. What is the wrap-up? It's how the story ends. How do we want to wrap up our story? By the dog getting the squirrel. How does the character feel about that? Prideful. He's excited because he worked hard. Okay, pretend I just retold the Carly story again, and now I have two kids in front of me who are each in charge of a different icon, and we're going to create a group story with that same thing. I'm going to be typing the story and analyzing it with the rubric. For example, let's say that someone just started the story and they say she instead of Carly. I'm going to say, you should probably check your rubric. How does your rubric look with what's in the story so far? You have she. Do you have a name? No, I don't have a name, so I should change. That's what I'm going to put. And then I will, for the next kid, say, okay, it's time for the setting. That's you, Julie. Julie, what's the setting? And then Julie will say, Jefferson Elementary Center on a Monday. And then we'll just continue going back and forth until the story is told. I've typed it, and then we can check it on the rubric together. I'm going to read a story about some bears to you. Listen carefully because I'm going to ask you to answer some questions about the story when I'm through reading it. Then I'm going to ask you to try and remember the story. You can use your icons in your storyboards to help you remember. They're right here on the desk, by the way. Gus and Brady lived in a cave in the mountains near the Redwood Forest. The Redwood Mountains were beautiful during the springtime when food was plentiful. Okay, I'm going to just not read this whole thing for the sake of phone storage. Let's say I read the whole thing. Okay, now I'm going to ask the comprehension questions. Who are the main characters in the story? Gus and Brady. If they don't answer that, I'm going to point to the character icon as a scaffolding technique. Then I'm going to place all the icons in front of the children, and I'm going to ask them to, I'm going to say, now I would like for you to tell me the story about the two hungry bears. Try to remember everything you can about the story that goes with your icons, and we will